Yeah. Oh, wait, you were supposed to do that.
It's been a long time since you've done that.
Well, I figured I'd bust it out because you're wearing your cowgirl hat.
Hey, I figure, I loved wearing this hat in Nashville. In Nashville, obviously it fit in. And also it was like humid and gross and bad hair every day. So it necessity. But I flippin' love this stupid hat that I got from the Temu app, which I know, before you all come at me with the Temu app and it being owned by China and it phishing all your information. So does everything else on your damn phone and every app. So whatever. It is what it is. They have my information. I don't talk about shit. So I paid like $6 for this thing and it's super cute. So I'm going to get my money's worth out of it and wear it.
Well, here's the thing, guys. I need your help. I need your support out there in the audience. Vicky loves this hat. She got so excited today because we're going to South Point because we're going to go hang out with our friend Shelly, who's here in town for some sort of bingo tournament with some huge cash prizes. Anyway, Vicky's really excited because South Point is where they a lot of cowboys go there. It's like where the rodeo is, and I keep telling her
there's always lots of cowboy hats.
I keep telling her, if you like the way you look in it, you can wear it wherever you want. She doesn't listen to me. She thinks it looks stupid if she goes somewhere where she's the only person wearing a cowboy hat. And I'm like, no, that makes you cool. And it makes you stand out as an individual. But she won't listen to me.
Yeah.
So tell her she should wear it when we go to Red Rock. Okay. You can. Why can't you look cool and stand out in other places? I mean, you have freaking hot pink hair, for the love of God.
I know. I stand out everywhere.
Right. So wear a cool hat.
I don't know.
Get over it, man. That's what I say.
It's so weird because like anybody that knows me knows, obviously I have, pink hair and I wear, my hair is different, but you know what? Like I'm very conservative in the way that I dress as far as like, I don't wear flashy clothing. I don't like to be, super like, I don't want to stand out a lot. I don't know. I know I'm a dichotomy, okay? I don't make a lot of sense. I didn't say
ridiculous. And my whole thing is, if you think you look good, listen, no matter what you do, no matter how you do your hair, no matter what you wear, any of that, there's always going to be people who don't like it, okay?
Well, that's true.
So in my opinion, you should decide how you're going to wear it based on what other people are going to think. If you like it, if you think it looks good, if you think it looks cool, then you go sport it and you like strut around like you're the coolest thing that ever happened.
My hair's too short to do pigtail braids, Lori. When my hair was longer, I used to do that a lot. But actually, my hair is really short for me. I've been cutting it a lot lately because TMI probably, but I don't know if it was COVID or if it's hormonal related. I have lost so much hair in this last year. My hair used to be very thick. So it's not right now. And so I've got like this little baby scrawny ponytails going on.
Why is that TMI? Isn't TMI more like if you're talking about your explosive diarrhea or something? You're like TMI, the hair's kind of short.
No, it's just that my hair's falling out. So anyway, it's coming back, but I have like all these baby hairs that are like 2 inches or 2.5 inches long sticking out all over my head. So I figure in another year or so, it'll look thick again, hopefully. That's the plan. Mm-hmm. But hey, another fun find. Hey, Angelisa, how you doing?
What's happening? What's going on?
So we have lots of people in chat today so far. Already have 62 people watching. So thanks for popping in. I don't know if what the weather's like where y'all live, but right now it's 1,000,000 degrees in Vegas. I know I saw Donovan in the chat there. Don in the chat. And he's in Arizona, so just in the Phoenix area. And I'm going to tell you, it is like Satan's butthole right now here. I'm not going to lie.
Where are you hanging out?
It's 118 degrees right now. 118.
So my question though is, would you wear a cowboy hat in Satan's butthole?
I mean,
how would it be received?
Could be a little pokey. So I mean, Vegas is always hot. Phoenix is always hot. There's no question. In the summertime, we're always hot. But I will say that 118 is hot even for us. 118 is hot even for Phoenix. It's hot for anybody. I don't care where you live, dry heat or not. It's an oven right now, and an oven will cook you. but I mean, it is dry heat. Thank God. I mean, this probably feels like 90 degrees with 60% humidity, like does in like Texas and Florida, and Georgia, places like that. So it's just bad. You don't really sweat. That's the difference with a dry heat. I'm a chubby girl, and I don't sweat in this heat. It's just hot. I can't breathe.
It's just hot. Yeah, but Britt right now and our friend James, they're up in Mount Charleston, and it's like low 90s up there, feeling good. So that's what you got to do. You just got to go up high.
And we have beautiful weather. Like that's the thing about living in Phoenix and Arizona or living in Las Vegas. People complain about the heat, but the reality is that we sacrifice 2 months out of the year where you just stay in air conditioning or in a pool or you hide out in order to have beautiful weather the other 10 months, 9 to 10 months out of the year. Very little rain. It's always bright and sunny, and cold for us is like in the 40s. So, I mean, I'm not going to complain.
I actually like the heat. Vicky thinks I'm weird, but like when we keep our house pretty chilly. She likes it nice and chilly. And so whenever we go outside to go somewhere, the heat hits you. I'm like, oh man, it feels good. Like it's not going to feel good if I'm staying out there for an extended period of time. But for me, like the first few minutes, it feels so good. And she immediately is like, ugh.
No, I don't like it.
So
I don't like it. I'm fine going air conditioning to air conditioning or a pool to pool, even though to be fair, we have this little pool in our backyard. And it's not an in-ground pool. We bought it last year. Some of you guys have seen it and know about it. It's really only like 3 feet deep. It's my pool to float in, and it's because I need a pool, but it is like a bathtub right now. That's the other thing. It's not refreshing at all. So anyway,
now
AC to AC
in the Pacific Northwest, 86 degrees is pretty melty. It's
you'd be dying.
You get to the 90s. Well, I mean, you're not dying, but the 90s are real rough. And occasionally in August, when I looked at Oregon, August 104, 105, you think you're going to die.
So this is my normal time of the year that I'm actually in the Pacific Northwest. I'm usually, for those of you that have been watching the channel for a while, or those of you that know me, I am a camp counselor at a children's burn camp in the state of Washington. And we usually are there this time of the year. In fact, all of my friends are going. They're going a week later this year. So they're actually going on Friday of this week. However, all my memories coming up in the last few days have been when I get to the Pacific Northwest. And I am missing that a lot this year. I'm not only missing the kids and the camp itself, but I'm missing the weather, because this is usually when it's, like I said, staying butthole here in Vegas, and I escape to the beautiful Pacific Northwest where it's cool and 50 degrees in the morning, and there's not a lot of humidity. It's just gorgeous in the mountains and in the. I don't want to live there forever. The Pacific Northwest is a little too dreary for me. It wouldn't be good for my mental health, but and the pool is just beautiful.
It's true, but I much love Vegas. I'm glad I'm here. But anyway, we said earlier, so after the show, we're going to go head on over to South Point and hang out with our friend Shelly
and Elizabeth.
And Elizabeth, that's right. And Elizabeth, which I'm very excited about. I love them both. And now, like I said, they're here for some sort of crazy bingo tournament. And
Shelly is serious about her bingo.
Real serious
about her bingo. Like they do it. She comes with her mother, her stepfather, and her aunt usually. And this time she has Elizabeth, her best friend, who is also a reseller that some of you have met.
Yeah, she comes to the remix.
And a couple of other friends. So they're here to do this huge bingo tournament. I think the prizes are minimum $20,000 a game, but it's a big buy-in. In any case, it's worth it if you win. You win one game and 20 grand. Hey, I mean, at the worst, you got to split with a few other people.
Now, are you going to be playing bingo?
I'm going to play one session tonight with them, which is only like a $90 buy-in and
I'm cheaper than her because I'm not going to do it at all.
Yeah, I mean, she asked if I wanted to do it, but that's too rich for my blood. But it's a $90 buy-in, but the games are $200, which is because we usually pay like $75 when I play with Shelly, and the prizes are like $100 to $400.
Well, I think to do like the whole tournament, it's something like $1,500.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was at least that.
Yeah, which, I mean, that's how they're doing a huge prize. But it'll be fun. We get to go hang out with our friends, and that's what we love about living. One of the better things about living here in Vegas, well, the weather's amazing, I think. But one of the best things is we are a destination city, and so obviously we have people who actually come to visit us, just to visit us. But a lot of times people come into town for other stuff, and then we get to see them and hang out. So we get to hang out with people all the time. And Liz, you were supposed to come hang out, and you canceled on us. So you better rebook
You need to rebook a weekend out here, girl. We're definitely, at least I am definitely coming in September, if not both of us, at some point. So we got to talk about our schedules there. Uh, and I think we're planning a trip, a group
We're
trip.
definitely planning in November
with a few friends coming in November. A bunch of resellers, and Angelisa in the chat. I think they're going to come with us.
Better be coming.
Well, we're going to do an Airbnb for that. So
and Danica too, but we haven't told Danica yet. So Danica,
She'll
you'll hear about it here first if you watch the show. Anyway, and then real quick before we get into the show completely, speaking of Danica, her birthday, she just had her birthday, so we want to say happy birthday to Danica.
Happy birthday, Danica.
And also,
so did Theresa.
So I was just saying, also Theresa had her birthday, but the reason I was bringing up Danica is if you don't follow her on Instagram, you should be. She's Lady Luck Junk over there, and you should go check out her recent reel that she did because
before it disappears, I think
reels do not disappear.
Oh, was it a reel? I thought it was in her stories.
Yeah. I'm sure she shared it to her stories, but reels do not disappear. Anyway, when she was here, we went and had tacos, and there was a whole debacle around. She wanted flour tortillas. They gave her corn, and then they could not figure out. For some reason, they could not figure out how to just give her some freaking flour tortillas, even when she was willing to pay for them.
It was a thing.
I couldn't even explain the story to you because it doesn't even make sense. But anyway, there was an incident. All right. So we got her very own flour tortilla.
And I saw her get pissy for the first time because she was so hangry and frustrated.
No, she would never. Anyway, we got her a flour tortilla blanket, and she has a whole reel where she models it, but then she wrote this really sweet whole thing about reseller community and what it's done for her. And so it's really awesome. You should go check it out. But her reel is really funny. Anyway, let's get into the show. For those of you who watched last week, you know that we have switched things up. This is no longer called Sunday Live Haul. It's now just called Sunday Live with Katy and Vikki. It's a little bit of a shorter show. We stick to about an hour. At least we managed to successfully do that last week. The things that stayed the same, we are still going to be going over our numbers for the last week, our gross numbers across all of our platforms, looking at the fees, and most importantly, looking at our cost of goods. The middle part of the show is still the same. We look at our sales highlights from the last week, interesting things we sold, things we might think are educational, blah, blah, blah. And then the last part of the show, we no longer do a haul because we are now doing pre-recorded hauls throughout the week. And so for the last part of the show, what we are doing now is we talk about how we did last week based on goals that we set last show. And then we also set our goals for the coming week. We asked you guys to join in on that. I know some of you had said in the comments and in the chat, the live chat during our show last week, you said what your goals were for the week. So when we get to that part of the show, don't start putting them out now. We'll get to that part of the show, and then we can all share how we did based on what we wanted to do, and then what our plans are for this next week. So it's kind of a way for us to kind of verbalize that, put it out there, and then hopefully it helps to kind of, at least for me, when I put it out there, I feel like I have to do what I said I was going to do. If you just say it to yourself, a lot of times it's real easy to come up with reasons to not complete the task that you're trying to complete. So that's the show.
I kind of like the putting it out there into the universe because the accountability factor is a real thing, right? We've talked a lot about many times at the Boss Remix and also on our channel and meetup groups and in general, we talk about finding an accountability partner, whether that partner is somebody that you live with or work with, or whether that's a stranger in a Facebook group or an online reseller friend, or maybe it's somebody in your local meetup. It doesn't have to be somebody you talk to every single day, but finding someone that you connect with as an accountability partner makes you accountable to someone or something outside of yourself to help you achieve goals. And it's especially good if it's someone that knows you fairly well that can kind of call you on your bullshit. I mean, I think okay, stop the procrastinating. I'll bust on our friend Cheryl Hinton and about all of her linens and all of her stuff that she doesn't ever get to list. She's so funny. She's a great buyer, but she knows she's a poor lister. But she's also running around and doing a whole bunch of other things. I swear this woman is busier now that she's retired than she was before she retired. But I do say that to her all the time. And Paula, we miss you.
We miss you big time. Speaking of our reseller friends, we miss you a lot.
I know. She's been a little bit MIA. I hope we're going to see you in October. So, and then we'll talk a little bit more. Again, you're going to hear about it a lot through October. I apologize in advance, but we're going to talk a little bit more about the reseller remix we move on with some of our information here.
Lori says her daughter was in a bad accident, but she's okay.
Oh my goodness. I'm so glad she's okay. That's
definitely gonna
the reason why
your
you get
productivity. That's okay. Obviously, things come up. That's life. But
that's life, and that's kind of one of the good things about us having the flexibility we do with our jobs is being able to deal with the life catastrophes that happen and the unforeseen things that happen.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, let's go ahead and jump into our show. And let's start with my number. I've got, so, as we'll get into later, I definitely have ramped up my listing over, I'd say, like the last week and a half. I do feel like I've seen a little bit of an uptick in the activity, like my eBay store. It's nothing substantial yet. Nothing substantial yet, but I do feel somewhat hopeful that it's going to have a positive impact. And then the other part about the slow times, economy right now aside, and how it's been the last several months, it is very normal for summer to be like the slowdown period. And what we've always said, or what I've always said, is that slow down time, it can be super frustrating. It can be very anti-motivating.
Yeah, it's very demotivating.
And I like anti-motivating. But I also say it's also a good time to kind of build up your inventory. So like I'm seeing like my inventory it's been a while, so that kind of makes me happy. And then the hope is that when we do hit fourth quarter, that maybe we have a semi-normal fourth quarter where sales go up. I don't know, maybe. If you have more inventory, then hopefully the sales are really good. But anyway, I had 18 eBay orders this last week, a little more than I had the week before. 9 on Etsy. Actually, 9 is correct. Actually, no, it is 9. Sorry. I was like, wait a second. Yes, it's 9. 9 Etsy orders, 0 Instagram, 4 between Grilled Macari and Depop for a total of 31 outlet orders. I thought that number would be like over 50. That'd be nice. Almost got to 1,000 on eBay, $932.28. Etsy was all right, $541.12, and then $309 between Grilled Macari and Depop for a total gross sales $1,782.40. It would be nice to have a minimum of 2, if not 3,000 there. But shipping $90.51. And you see the breakdown of fees there. And the cost of goods about $150. My net total sales $1,341.91. Meh. My gross average sale price, I'm happy with that. Used to be, my goal was 70, but because I am doing all my sourcing now at the bins, bringing my gross average sale price down, I kind of adjusted my goal to where I want to be able to hit at least 50. So if I can get 50 to 60, that makes me happy. So 57.50, and my net average sale price 43.29. So I'm not stoked about my numbers for this last week, but I do feel like there's a slight up. We'll just see over the next few weeks what that trend actually looks like, because you can obviously see a trend in just 1 week. We'll see. So,
yeah. I'm still, I've got to say, for like at least the last 3 or 4 weeks, my numbers have been like within dollars of each other, which doesn't make me feel great, especially. And I have to say, and I know that a lot of people have said this, I am working my business harder than I have ever worked it in the 20 plus years I've worked and sold on this platforms. I'm over 25 years on eBay at this point. I have never worked this hard, worked this much, played with the platform, done the delist and the relist and the changing titles and the changing prices, and working with promoted listings and putting things on sale and sending offers and honestly doing all of the damn things that can possibly be done to still have such dismal results. It's kind of frightening. And I've said this before. I had quite a hefty nest egg last year and heading into this year and maintained it for several years. And this is not sustainable for me. My numbers definitely want to increase drastically over the next few months, or I don't know what I'm going to do. I might have to look into a jobby job and go part-time with this. I don't know.
But we've got some other tricks up our sleeve, but keep going.
We'll see. Anyway, so 27 on eBay, 6 on Etsy, 8 on Poshmark, Macari for 43 orders, $11 on eBay. My norm used to be about 4,000. 533 on Etsy. That's pretty good. Etsy's been pretty pathetic for me lately. Poshmark, that's a little low at 243, and then Macari is always just here and there. So just under $2,000 gross, 1992 and change. My shipping $194, and then you'll see the breakdown of the fees. My total cost of goods, that's my saving grace, is that my cost of goods is as low as it is. 95 to 95% of my items come from the bins. And that makes my cost of goods relatively low. So my total net sales, just under 1,500, gross average sales price 46. I like to be between 50 and 60, so that's not too far off considering my low cost of acquisition. My net average sale price is just about $35.
Ooh, your low cost of acquisition.
So just 1 second. With the sound.
Sorry.
All we can do is your screen. We're doing the best that we can. We have a top-of-the-line microphone, and
is everyone having issues with sound, or is it just a couple people? Because it would be nice to hear. Because sometimes it's working, sometimes we're having issues. Anyway, we're definitely continuing to try things. We're not just here to complain sales or issues. We're definitely. I know for me, my number
everybody's
one
saying it's still cutting in and out.
Yeah, it's choppy.
Yeah, okay. All we can it may be our internet connection. Is what it is. We can't.
There's not a whole lot.
There's not a damn thing we can do about it.
That we can do about it. We can try different settings and stuff like that. Yeah, I never an issue before.
I know.
That we have here. I don't know. Anyway, just let us know if it gets better. Let us know in the chat. But we'll try. I don't know if we need to be like closer to the mic or whatever. But for me, the biggest thing that I did was, why is
I guess I would suggest people just not watch it. Well, can't do anything about
it. It's fine. So we're just gonna power through. Hope it gets better.
And it is what it is. There's nothing we can do.
Okay.
So either you deal with it or don't watch.
Closer to the mic helps. Okay, so the biggest thing that I did first is by cutting my cost of goods big time, and so that was like not doing any more big buys, not paying up for per piece, doing the bins, and so obviously cutting my cost way down is going to have a big impact. And then the other thing I'm doing is I added Depop. So now I'm up to 1,600 listings on Depop. I still have probably like 300-400 more listings to go over there. So that is another thing that I've done. Also, of course, the last couple of weeks, like ramping up my listing because we are going sourcing much more often with the bins, and hopefully that's going to help. And then, guys, the next thing that I'm doing, you are not going to believe this. I just put my first listing on Poshmark. It is true.
I don't know who you are.
I know. I put one listing up there just to test out because I wanted to see what it looked like what the listing form looked like. I am adding Poshmark, guys. So as soon as I'm done getting all of my listings over onto Depop, I'm going to move on to Poshmark and add that platform and see if because if I can get a couple $100 a week from there, that would be a big help. So I have to keep trying. I have to keep doing things to try and improve it. And Vikki, I know, is taking some steps. And aside from listing a crazy amount, hiring a person to be able to up her output as far as listings go, you do have something that you're planning on doing here in the near future with your live.
Oh, yeah. Well, I've got two things. So I've been saying I'm going to get on Grailed since the beginning of this year, and I have not. So that'll be one. I'm going to get on Grailed sometime in the next week. At least start putting my stuff over on Grailed. Chris Bradley, that was funny. So we're going to do that. And then I'm involved in a couple of different vintage buy and sell groups. And I'm going to bite the bullet and do some live selling in one of the groups that I'm in. It costs $30 a month to be in the group to sell. And there's no commission fee. And it's a pretty large group that caters to both buyers and sellers. So I'm going to try that out and see how it goes. Clearly, those of you that know me know that Whatnot is not my jam. There are not a lot of buyers there for what I sell. At least I haven't developed a following to do that. Some of you guys have been great and supported the couple of sales that I've done there, and you've gotten some great buys on things that I'm sure you've been able to flip. However, that's not my intent. It's just not to sell wholesale to other resellers. I'd like to sell at least somewhat close to retail and make a good profit on my items. So
I'm definitely going to be trying that out, and we'll see how it goes. I'm excited to try it because I do like the concept of live selling. I like teaching. I like talking about the items. I know what I'm talking about, and I know that I buy really good things, and I know how to present them. I'm not just like saying that to be cocky, but I mean, I know what I'm doing. So, um, having the right audience for those items is key. So I'm hoping that it goes well.
So there's really only so much you can do, but you got to keep trying to make changes and adapt. But at the same time, Vicky and I were talking about this earlier today before the show. My worst times have always been in the middle of the summer. And my first few years, first like 3, 4, 5 years selling, there were times where I'd hit summer and whatever money I had kind of saved up to, I'd have like a little bit of savings specifically for my business. I'd always go through that every summer because I hit those times when sales would get so bad. So I think that right now, that's going to compound everything. But you just kind of have to deal with it, and you have to figure out a way, like how do you keep motivated. So for me, and I think Vicky will agree with this, for me, changing up the show like we are and having this kind of accountability part of it that we'll get to after we do our sales highlights, I think is going to help us a lot because it makes it almost, I wouldn't say a game. I wouldn't say it's like super fun, but it makes a little bit of a game of it and makes it a little easier. It's not just about like us trying to work to get our sales up. It's also about us trying to be accountable to you guys and hopefully make it a little easier for us to stay on top of things and to keep moving even when we're like, ugh, I don't want to try anymore. All right. Let's go ahead and look at our sales highlights for the week. And we'll start with you, Vicky. What is this cute little number right here?
So this is a good look right now. It's not that this was a huge dollar amount, but I think I picked this up. I think I got this at some point. I've had it for quite a while, at least a year. So I paid under $1 for it, around $1 for it. It sold for the price you see there, $58 a change. But the whole 90s and Y2K, kind of like the plaid schoolgirl thing, is pretty popular again. And this is just one example of that. This is Marc Jacobs, which is a designer. I don't know why it took as long to sell as it did, to be quite honest with you, because Marc Jacobs generally commands a pretty good price. But I didn't pay a lot for it, and it didn't take that long. It doesn't take up a lot of space. But keep in mind, so those short, kind of like schoolgirl type of skirts, whether it's preppy or schoolgirl style plaid, that kind of thing, definitely keep those in your back pocket to pick those up when you can get them inexpensively. The brand doesn't matter a whole heck of a lot, just describe them well. So anyway, that's it. Yeah, $58.
Nice. All right, next up for me, I've got this First String Sport Fishing t-shirt. Now, this isn't like some crazy exciting sale, but when I was at the bins, I found this shirt and there was another one, the exact same shirt right next to it. And I almost grabbed both of them. And then I was like, why am I grabbing both? Like even grabbing one, I'm like, this is such a mediocre t-shirt. It's going to take me forever to sell it. Like I need to have 2 of them sitting around for the next 2 years. So I left the other one behind. And then I listed it, and what do you know? It sold literally the same day. I think the person offered me like 25. We went back and forth a few times, and I got them up to 40. So I sold it for $40. And again, I've said this before. I swear I get these items where I'm like, I'm like, why am I even picking this up? And then even after I buy them, I regret it. And then I swear every time it's the first thing to sell. And then I have other stuff that's great that sits around forever. So $40, I paid not even $1 for it. And now I wish I would have picked up that second one. But if I had picked up the second one, I probably wouldn't have sold the first one, right? Isn't that the way it goes?
Pretty much. Pretty much. So Tommy had made a good point there. I know a lot of people have been saying it's because there's so many new resellers since the pandemic, and that there's not enough for everyone to go around necessarily. I don't think that is true. I think that there are plenty of buyers and there are plenty of sellers. And I will say that most of the new resellers or newer resellers that jumped on, post pandemic are not on eBay. Those are the younger kids for the most part. And I know that I'm generalizing here, but they're the younger generation that jumped onto reselling and they're not selling on eBay. They're doing live selling. They're doing Instagram. They're doing TikTok. They're doing Poshmark and Grailed and Depop. And they are not necessarily, and again, I know I'm generalizing. I know there will be exceptions before you come at me. They're not necessarily as well-versed as some of our more seasoned sellers in what they're selling or what their wanting to sell things for. So there is a bit of a race to the bottom there that may not have been as prevalent before. So I think that may be affecting some of it. Um, I have learned over the last year or so to not be quite as precious on my pricing, and I am accepting lower prices when I can. So you just have to learn to pivot and change. I do think that there's plenty of space out there for everyone. Um, you know, I do know that people are shopping primarily online. If you go into a department store or a mall, if you happen to have a mall near you, if it's not 50% or more dead with closed up stores, I'd be shocked, even in major metropolitan areas. So,
Well, also, like last week, we were talking about promoted listings, and I had said how when I looked at my promoted listings campaign, and I was looking at the analytics, and it says for like the last 30 days, and it was down 50% from the previous 30 days. Like, I don't even understand like how that's possible. Like, what to me, that's not a normal market thing. To me, that's something with eBay. Now, obviously, I don't know that for sure, but like a 50% drop, like that's huge. That's not like a gradual drop. So I don't know. Anyway, why don't you go ahead and tell us about these boots?
so these were just a pair of boots I picked up at the bins. They weighed about 3 pounds, so I paid probably a little over $5 for them. They weren't there listed for that long, but I only grabbed them because Colin Stewart is like a DSW mall type brand of boots and shoes. They're somewhat pricey. Retail wise anyway, but I figured I could get something out of these. You don't really find tall white boots very often. They were dead stock, but they had some damage, which is what I noted. And I was pretty happy to accept, they made an offer and I actually sold them for $50. They weren't listed that long, a couple of months maybe. $50, and they went right to California. So even my shipping at $8 and change was not too low. I use a flat rate shipping. So a lot of times if I sell something, for more than 2 or 3 pounds and it's going across the country, I'm eating a little bit in the shipping. I didn't on this one. So I was pretty happy to get rid of them.
All right, next up, not the most exciting thing, but a Colorado State University T-shirt, long sleeve. I actually got this at Our Bins, and I sold it for the full price, $48.99. And this is another one I grabbed it, and I was like, yeah, boring. But it sold. I think I've only had it listed for a few weeks, and it sold for $48.99. So. It doesn't all have to be about exciting graphics. Your basic stuff can really sell decently. So, I mean, I paid $1 for it. There's not really a whole lot more to say, but I always pick up anything that's like school related, and it could just be because maybe somebody's going there in the fall and they wanted to pick up a T-shirt. But this is definitely the time when people are starting to think about they're heading off to college.
Oh, I thought it was a sweatshirt. Oh, I see now.
Well, it's a T-shirt,
long sleeve T-shirt.
Yeah, but they're heading off to school. And Liz says, I was going to say, did you sneak a Colorado trip? Didn't say anything. Well, yeah, we didn't want to see your face.
Clearly, we were just trying to avoid Liz. Jeez. Way to blow that one, Katie. Okay, so this is a bins find. Robert Graham, again, is a little passe. I don't know a lot of people that actually pick it up to wear it. No offense, Casey, because I'm sure Casey doesn't watch our channel. I know he does sometimes, but, we all know Casey, Rockstar Flipper, loves his Robert Graham. Aside from Casey, not a whole heck of a lot of people wearing Robert Graham still. I love you, Casey. But so this one I picked up just because it was a really bright and colorful one, and it was a bigger size. So I actually took an offer on this for $60, and I had picked it up at the bin, so I paid a little over $1 for it.
Nice. All right, next up, this is one of my favorite finds since we've started going back to the bins. I saw this and yoinked it. I think it had even been in a bid for a little while and nobody else saw it. It's a vintage 90s Nautica Challenge sailing jacket. And I did end up taking an offer for $90, which, I was happy with. I paid, maybe $3 for it. And again, this is, I know I repeat myself. This is just to kind of like cement it in your heads. The lowercase is vintage, lowercase lettering, and the uppercase generally is the current stuff. There's one uppercase logo that is vintage, but we won't get into that because it just gets too complicated. But anyway, sold it for $90 and paid maybe $3 for it. So Nautica still sells, guys.
I was just going to say, so Nautica's kind of like Tommy Hilfiger. I probably would not have picked that up because it just doesn't sell very well anymore, or I would assume it doesn't sell very as much anymore. Like I used to pick up, if you found a Nautica sailing jacket that was vintage 2 or 3 years ago, you would have gotten $200-300 for it. Now, it's still selling, I guess, if you sold it for 90, but is it just the sailing jackets that do well, you think?
Well, I mean, I would always, even with the downturn of Nautica, I would always pick this up at the bins. I mean, even if I could sell it for $50, that's worth it. But if you remember last week, I had that Nautica polo shirt that I sold for
Apparently, I need to be
50
picking up
bucks or
Nautica
whatever.
again.
So I think, I don't think it's like huge, but I think it's still, if you're buying it at the bin, you're paying so little for everything. I think it's still worth picking up. So
Fair enough. Okay, so this is one that I think I talked about this in one of our hauls, or one of the hauls we just did recently. This actually sold the same day I listed it. I don't necessarily pick up Free People all the time. Free People does not command the price that it used to. A lot of it will sit, even if it's new with tags. But this I knew someone was going to want because it was this long, chunky sweater jacket type of thing. But it's big and bulky, but it's very lightweight yarn. So it actually probably cost me about $4. It sold the same day, and I sold it on an offer of $65. And I list things high. Again, I never expected I would get $80 on a Free People anything, but $80 with room for 20-30% off is cool. But they offered 65 bucks probably within an hour of me listing it, which means maybe I should have held out, but not on Free People. I was pretty happy to get 65 bucks out of like 4 and that fast. I never even had time to cross post it. I had just listed it. So yeah, I mean, it was a nice jacket sweater thing.
very nice. All right. Now I'm going to show you a bunch of sales from Etsy. I definitely had more sales on eBay, but I feel like Etsy is consistently higher prices and just, I don't know. I sold more stuff over there. But I sold this Beefeater Lemon Eater t-shirt, this gin t-shirt. It's funny, I just saw a Reddit post where it's like this whole thing of like, what are some foods and things that people say they like, but you're pretty sure everybody's lying. And one of the people answered gin.
Gin is gross.
Gin and tonic is delicious. I think gin by itself, like the whole idea of like a gin martini, which is like a martini, like classic gin, but a gin and tonic, delish and very refreshing. But anyway, dive into the taste of summer with Beefeater Lemon Eater. Just kind of a cool cocktail t-shirt. You can get the jackknife, the belly flop, the swan dive, the cannonball. Apparently those are drinks. I don't know. But I paid like maybe $5 for the shirt.
I think that's referring to the way that the lemon was cut and put in the drink. Look, it's different.
Oh, I see. Okay. Fair enough.
See, Tommy, I'm with you. Gin is nasty.
Whatever.
Yep.
But it sold for $62.99. Paid maybe $5 for it and sold it for $62.99. So I was very happy with that.
So this is the brand that Liz loves to hate, kind of like me. Eileen Fisher used to be, you would pick up anything Eileen Fisher. Eileen Fisher used to sell solid. Middle-aged ladies love them some Eileen Fisher. However, I can't give it away most of the time. And because their sizing is so inconsistent, Liz gets a lot of returns on Eileen Fisher because what their sizes are, they're so inconsistent that they're not great. Anyway, this is something I had picked up on a clearance rack. I want to say maybe at Ross even. I've had this thing for 2 freaking years at least. So I paid about $15 for this, and it's been sitting forever. I had like 5 of them. I think I'm down to 1 now because 2 sold this week.
Ooh.
1 sold for $40, which I was more than happy to take. And then this one sold yesterday without me even sending an offer. It sold at my full sale price of $85 and change. So yeah, I'll take $85 on an Eileen Fisher thing all day long. Yeah. So anyway, I was just happy that I sold it.
Nice.
Would I pick it up again now? Probably not. Only at the bins.
All right. So this week I actually had 2 different sales on Etsy that were multi-item sales. What I love about Etsy is that you actually do get people who come and shop your store specifically. I regularly get orders where it's like usually just like 2. Occasionally it's even more than that. Sometimes it's like way more than that. I think my record was like 22 items sold to one person who's like a store up in Canada. But anyway, so I sold this t-shirt along with another shirt I'll show you in a little bit. And of course, it's what people love. It's skiing t-shirts, Gator Snow Ski Club. Yes, you can see his gator. Look at the little gator on his skis.
You and your fancy ski
Yeah.
shirts.
That's the front, and then the back graphic is super awesome. I love it. Look at that. It's such a cool shirt.
Was this an Inspire or was this
No, I've had this a little bit longer, but I didn't pay much for it. I paid like maybe $5-10 tops, and sold it for $62.99. I always like how on Etsy it says ships from a small business in Nevada. Anyway, it was a good sale.
Okay, so this was an Etsy sale that I had this week, and this is I'm pretty sure that I purchased this in Colorado. I don't know if it was from the bins or if it was from our thrift store, but it was one of the two. Worst case is I paid about $5 or $6 at the thrift store. Best case would be I paid about $2 to $3 from the bins. Either way, I love Western skirts, Western in general. I thought this was pretty cool. It's long, it's got, pleats, but it's like a circle skirt, and it has the silver concho design on it. So Western wear in general, as I've said a few times in the last few shows, Western wear, women's Western wear is super hot and trendy right now. So it sold for the price you see there, $67.46. I'm running a sale on Etsy. I'm running a sale everywhere. Geez, of course. And yeah, customer is super happy to get it. I'm excited.
Nice. All right. Same person who bought that Gator Ski t-shirt also got this Denver Post Ride the Rockies shirt, which I love. I've had this for a little while. But it's just a cool cycling t-shirt. I like these kinds of shirts. Anything kind of like sports related that's not like professional sports, I always think it's kind of cool. It's on the old Fruit of the Loom tag. And again, so I might have gotten this. Actually, I might have gotten both of those when we were in Colorado. So I would say my cost on these were $6 per shirt, and sold it for $62.99. So that person basically spent like over $120 in my shop on 2 t-shirts that I paid like a total of $12 for. So it's a pretty good deal. But I love this shirt.
Oh, Kara Cooper just corrected me. I stand corrected. You're right, Kara. Thank you. That's why I could not remember where I got the skirt. Kara is one of our friends in Florida, and I swear every time we see her, whether she comes to visit us here or we saw her in Florida last year, she gifts us with clothes, vintage clothes. Like only your friends do that, right? Only your friends
Only
are
reseller friends.
only reseller friends gift each other with other used crap that they know will like, and it's always really great. So actually, I don't have any cost of goods into that because that was a gift. So I for that skirt. So thank you for clarifying that, Kara. And Liz, yeah, I don't know why you're not looking for Colorado crap in your own backyard.
She doesn't listen to me.
Mm-mm.
All right, go ahead.
So those of you that know, I've talked about this before. Juicy Couture and BB and these sweatpants and jackets that are in the terry cloth and the velour that have the bling across the butt and across the back. They're back. No. They're back and they're popular. So it's definitely Y2K stuff, but it's back, especially the low rise. And these are not particularly low rise, but they sold these were bins buy. So maybe $2 I paid, and they sold on Etsy for $75.
That's way impressive.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next up, I got a bins buy. Mammoth Mountain, California. This is another ski item.
Oh, he's cute.
Yep, he's real cute. So this is a hoodie, and I paid like maybe $2.50 or whatever, maybe a little over £1. And I sold it for $62.99. But I was really excited that I found something ski related in our bins. It was a hoodie, and so I'm always glad to sell a hoodie because, as I've said, the bins is where the hoodies go to die. Mm-hmm. I cannot help buy more hoodies when I go to the bins. I'm gonna have to get like extra bins just to keep my hoodies in because I'm starting to get too many of them. But I do sell them, so I'm happy with that. How cute he is!
It is a cute little mammoth.
I think the mammoth skiing is way cuter than the gator skiing. That's my opinion.
Good to know. Mm-hmm. All right. So this was actually one of my biggest sales this week. I was pretty happy to get rid of it. I've had it for over a year because we've lived here for over a year, and I moved into this house. So I believe I got this at a garage sale. I did not buy this at the bins. I bought this at a garage sale. I always buy sewing machines at garage sales if I can get them for $10 or $15 or sometimes I'll look up the model and see if they're one of the really good ones, like the Brother or whatever. But This I paid like $10 for. I had a lady ask me a few questions about it. When you're getting it from a garage sale, 99% of the time, you know it's going to be working, especially if it came like this did. It came covered with the manual, with all of the pieces attached. Someone took good care of it. And in the manual, it had the receipt for a cleaning that they had done on it like 10 years ago. So I was pretty happy to sell it. And I don't know how to sew. I will plug it in and I will move the needle up and down the treadle, needle. I don't know what the fuck it's called. Whatever. I'll move the needle up and down. I will make sure that the parts appear to be working, and then I will say it works. Don't go crazy with that kind of stuff and say something's untested or whatever. If it didn't work for some reason, I would refund this woman. But it works, and I'm going to assume it works that someone took care of it well. And that's it. So
well, then we were super lucky that you had some styrofoam, we call it styrofoam box, that we had out in the garage that was like the perfect size to put this thing into it and be able to get it so it was not able to move inside of that and close that. And then we had a box that was the perfect size for the styrofoam to go inside. So it actually went from being something that was going to be really difficult to package up and a pain in the ass to being like not bad at all.
And I did charge $30 to ship this, and it cost about $35. It's heavy, it's big, you've got to know that, and it's going to take a while to package and package it safely so that things don't break off. But I think we did okay. I haven't heard anything, and it got delivered. So knock on something, I don't hear anything.
Well, and you insured it, so even if something did happen, you would have been covered. But you definitely want to be able to, something like this is so well taken care of. You want to make sure it gets safely to the person.
So just don't be afraid. Basically, don't be afraid to sell the heavy stuff. That's it. Don't be afraid to sell the heavy stuff. Don't be afraid to sell things that you don't know how to test entirely. I just don't know how to sew. I can't even thread a needle. Not that I could see to thread a needle these days, but I knew that because all of the parts worked, the light worked, everything moved smoothly, nothing was sticking, that it was fine. And that people that do sew and use sewing machines are prepared to, put in a new needle if the needle's broken or whatever, oil some pieces for the belt. And, I know that. So
there you go. All right. Last one. I had all kinds of alternate sporting type of things. I had cycling. I had skiing. Now I've got whitewater rafting. This is an awesome one. I mean, Tommy might be right. Maybe I'm selling pink t-shirts because of therapy core, but
everybody's wearing they're dressing up with their girlfriends and wearing the Ken ones.
But like, would they be getting t-shirts? I don't know. Maybe that's why I sold 2 pink t-shirts. But anyway, another one I bought for maybe $5-10 tops. Sold for $62.99. But I love this kind of stuff. It doesn't fly out of my store. But to me, this is like way cooler than like that NBA t-shirt or whatever. I don't know. I love it. It makes me happy. So
we got a lot of our peeps from Florida in the chat here. Hey Pam, nice to see you. I think we're going to see you and your magical hubby in October as well. So that's our highlights, our sales of the week. I think it's a little bit week, I guess, the last few weeks. As we just haven't had any huge sales.
But I'm gonna keep on it because I feel like for me, this week especially, since we kind of made our goals for on the last show, I feel like I've got a handle on I'm moving forward and I have to keep being relentless on getting stuff listed. And so last week we made some goals, and I know some of you guys also said your goals. So let's talk about if we were able to accomplish them. So my first goal was I wanted to list at least 50 items. I know that doesn't seem like a huge number necessarily, but I didn't want to go too crazy because I want this to be something that's sustainable from week to week to week. And so my goal was 50. And since the last show to this show, I was able to list 74 new items. I had like 73 or 75 pieces that I had to I'd gotten the week before that I had to wash and photograph and measure and all that stuff. And so I did hit 74 listings, which I'm really excited about. I didn't make any goals for cross posting, I don't think. I don't remember if I did or not. But I added at least 300 to 400 new listings onto Depop. And so I'm really happy about that going. One of our other goals was going to the bins 3 times. We did accomplish that. We went to the bins 3 times. We're close to not doing it because it's like we had to wake up. I think the alarm went off for morning at 6:30, and Vicky's woke up and her first response was no. She said no.
Nope.
And then like 7 minutes later, she was like, let's go. She couldn't go fall back asleep, so we ended up going. So we did accomplish that goal.
Mhm.
And then my other big goal was to get at least 2 videos up, pre-recorded videos up on the channel, because we're now doing our hauls. We're going and doing bins, and then we come home and we do a haul. And so I actually ended up doing 3 videos. I did 2 of those videos. So there's 2 videos this last week. If you haven't seen them, there's 2 videos of us going to the bins. We can't film inside the bins, but then followed up by our haul, showing all the pieces that we got. So if you want to see all the cool stuff, or most of the cool stuff that we picked up this week, because there was one day that we didn't do a video, you need to go back and watch those. You can see the stuff that we picked up and chime in about what you think about them. And then I did a 3rd video, just a short one, that I know isn't going to appeal to everyone because you have to be a Depop seller to care. And I did a little video showing how to search your own Depop store, because Depop does not have a search function within your own inventory, which is super cool, but I was able to figure out how to do that.
Really annoying.
So now, if you ever need to like find something in your store, to end it, to edit it, whatever, there's a really easy way to do that. You can watch that video. So I feel like I did really well accomplishing my goals this week. I feel pretty good about it. Vicki, why don't you tell us about how you did with your goals?
So I just want to talk briefly in the chat, Lori. I'm excited for you that you're putting together your first meetup. There are a couple of different reseller meetups that are in different parts of Florida. Florida's big. It's a big state. So Cheryl does hers, and then Philip does one as well. And I think there may be another one somewhere in Florida, but I'm not entirely sure. But so definitely, if you guys are watching this, are looking for a local meetup in the Florida area, check in with Cheryl or Lori and find out which one is closest to you that you're able to attend. That would be great. So
what were your goals last week?
So my goals last week, I think I said I wanted to list 200 items.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was my only goal. I go to the bins 3 times with you,
right.
And I do have to source, in order to list 200 items a week, I have to source at least over 100.
Yeah, I think you were like, you wanted to do like 100 from that your workers doing. So those are drafts. So you're not clarified to anybody who hasn't watched this before. She's not doing 200 listings from beginning to end by herself, because that would be, I mean, I would think you were crazy.
I don't think I could.
No, so like half of those are ones that you're taking the drafts, and you're tweaking them and doing stuff and then putting them up. And then the other ones are like hard goods that you are photographing yourself.
Yep, hard goods or linens and shoes and bags and toys, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So I was able to actually, I did the bins 3 times with you, even though I didn't want to one day. And I actually got 184 new listings up this week. So
nice.
184 listings, and a little over 100 of them were from my listener that's doing my drafting, and the rest were mine. So I got all of those up and listed, and then the majority of them have already been cross-posted to the other 3 platforms. So I don't know that that 200 is sustainable for me. I think 150 is definitely sustainable. That would mean half her and half me. I'm always doing over 100 during the week, though.
It's funny because when we're home, we were having a debate between the 2 of us, because I was kind of giving her a hard time last year when she said, or last week, 200. And she was like, well, I want it to be something that's hard to do, so that it's more like a challenge.
Goals are a challenge for me,
sure.
Right? I don't want an easily attainable goal, because
sure.
then it doesn't feel like I tried hard.
So whereas I say it's not about an easily attainable goal, to me it's more about, okay, what's a productive week look like? And my goal is I want to be productive, and I'm going to set a number that I think is attainable, but also that I can keep doing week after week after week, because you don't want to get to a point where you're like, because like for instance, one of the things, which first of all, yes, congrats, like 184, that's really, really good. That's like crazy. But one of the things that you're already seeing is, oh my God, I'm listing 4 times what I'm selling, and we're going to hit like a serious wall as far as space goes if your sales don't increase a lot. And I think even if you were able to accomplish 200 listings a week,
well,
like
obviously obviously there's an added expense,
mm-hmm.
because I'm sourcing 3 times a week instead of once a week. Sometimes before would be my max. So I'm sourcing 3 times a week, and I'm paying someone to do my listings, which I've always been doing or have been doing for many years at this point, but there's more.
So the volume's going.
So the volume's going way up. She's super efficient, so I'm really glad that I'm doing this, and especially to bulk up my store for Q4. However, I do not think it is sustainable for me to do 200. So my goal is to get her 75 to 100 items a week, and that's easily obtainable in 3 trips. It's actually been, this is my 4th week giving her stuff, and it's been about 75 to 80 every week. I think 100 is possible too if I find more. But getting those things home, first of all, getting them all cleaned, processed, sorted, ready for her to take and list, and then taking the 100 to 200 items that I'm listing and putting them away and getting them, put away into the inventory properly. It's a lot. I'm going to say, I will say this week I worked my butt off. I didn't take a day off. I worked a lot of hours every day. So I don't think that is sustainable for me to do every week because I will burn out. And to be honest with you, not only will I just burn out, I will burn out and be bitter about it because the sales are not even close to keeping up with the acquisition. Well, so that being said, my goal this week is to do about 130 listings. Perfect. So have her do the 75 to 80 that I'm getting to her, and then the rest will be hard goods and things that I pick up and do myself. And I think that that's a little bit more attainable for me.
Well, I think
and sustainable.
I think part of our problem, and this has been going on for us probably the last over a year, is that we have so much other stuff going on that we haven't been good at staying consistent. And we get into patterns and we're like traveling a lot and doing all kinds of stuff. And we get back home and we don't really, even though we're both very disciplined people and we work hard, sometimes it's like we're not getting the stuff done that needs to get done, and it's more about the consistency. And so to me, it's almost like when you're like, okay, I'm going to go back to the gym. Here's my New Year's resolution. You go back and you hit it hard, and like you can't move for 3 days, and then you don't want to go back again. To me, it's more about like, okay, I'm going to get back to the gym. Now, this is an analogy, guys, because I'm not going back to the gym right now. But when I am in a mode like that, I'm going to go back to the gym and I'm going to ride the bike for an hour and listen to like a podcast. I'm not going to try to kill myself going overboard. I'm more about like, okay, I want an attainable amount that I can do week to week to week, because once you get into that consistent pattern, as long as you're doing that in the long term, it's going to have huge payoffs. So it's hopefully going to go really well. So your goal is 140, you said?
Yeah, I think like 130 to 140 is attainable for me. I think that's something consistently attainable. Obviously, it's going to be lower on weeks if we're not home for some reason. And I also had I'm going to say, I felt like our friend Theresa this past week too, because I had 6 Zoom calls and Zoom meetings, which is also not something I'm doing all the time. So that's draining and exhausting. And a bunch of them are sales meetings because we're putting together the Reseller Remix. So I'm talking to sponsors and I'm selling the event. So I'm, to sponsors that, a bunch of new sponsors that don't know about it. So it's a conversation every time. So it's a lot of work.
Okay, so let's look at what people out here are saying. Liz said she was able to list over 100 this week, so that's awesome. She's got a lot of stuff going on in her house. There's a bunch of updating in the kitchen.
She's had the kitchen remodel from hell.
So she got all those up and cross listed and put away. That's pretty good. Cheryl got she got 12 the other day and 4 today with car issues, lots of fun stuff like that. Barb, I see Barb, her goal was 50 like me, and she listed 75. You beat me, Barbara, because my goal was 50. I got 74. So that's very, very cool. So this week, Liz says she wants to do 80 because she's got to get the house back in order. And her oldest kid's coming home for a visit. So,
which means she's got to get all the inventory out of that bedroom.
Yeah. So please let us know, more of you, like what your goals are. What happened with your goal from last week, what your goals are for this week. You can say in the chat, you can say it in the comments if you're watching this later. As far as my goals for this next week, I'm going to stick with the same goals because even though I was able to hit 74, it wasn't too painful this week. I have stuff coming up. I have a couple of Zoom calls I got to do this week. I also, this week is the week that I go for a day and volunteer at the law office here in Vegas. So that's a whole day that I'm not going to be able to do anything. And so I'm going to make sure that I'm actually able to hit my goal. So I'm going to stick with 50. I still have I think 20 that I can list. I have to go through and process and wash and do all this stuff and take pictures of my next batch. So that takes more time too. But I think I can still hit 50. I think I can still do the 2 videos. I'm sticking to 2 videos a week as the minimum. And we're going to be able to do the bins. What days are we doing the bins this week?
Oh, I don't even know. So I have a Zoom call Tuesday at 7 a.m. because I'll be talking to somebody.
So we're going to do Tuesday.
France. So we're going Tuesday because by the time I'm done with that call, might as well, we'll be up and ready to go. And I have to be presentable to be on camera, right? So there's that. And then I don't know why you have 1 p.m. Katy.
Well, that's me.
Okay. So so I have a Zoom call on so Tuesday I can do Tuesday. Let's see. We have our boss virtual meetup on Wednesday at 2:00, by the way. The link should be down below if we when we're done with this video to register for that. For the virtual meetup that Theresa puts together for us and our group every month. Please go and show her support. And then I have an Instagram live I have to do at 4:00. On Wednesday, so I can't do Wednesday.
But we can make 3 days happen.
Anyway,
3 days happen.
We got to make 3 days happen. Yeah, I got a lot. Anyway, it's a lot. So I have like 3 different. I have a becoming eBay thing on Thursday where I talk to the new eBay employees, and then we have a podcast on Thursday. No, that's the 27th. And then we have the housekeepers are coming on Thursday.
Oh, that's going to be.
And I say that like. We have housekeepers. We really don't.
We like twice a year.
Twice a year, I pay someone to come and do the deep clean because this house is stupid big, and I get frustrated with it.
Real estate says I'm going to set a goal of 75, but really need to do more. I have so much inventory. Yeah, but just like you set your goal, and then you can really feel like you killed it when you blow it out of the water. Pearl Bugging says I want to sell twice as much as I list until the new year. That will clear out older stuff and wind me down to 750 listings by the time our baby comes. Okay. Tommy says my goal is just to do something 6 days straight this week with a visit to the yard. Jeez.
Oh, it is Pride weekend in Seattle, and you're home. I'm sorry.
Well, he's in Portland. I don't know if he's in Portland. Are you actually in Portland now, Tommy? Am I crazy? I know this is Tommy in Seattle. I don't know why I think Portland, but anyway. So those are our goals. Those are some of your goals. And please, in the comments down below for anyone watching after the fact, please let us know what your goals are or how you did with the goals you set last week. We're going to keep doing this, guys.
Cheryl has a goal of 16. It does sound little, but Vicki knows I usually don't do any. That's true. Although Cheryl is in like 3 different antique malls, and she's been running the brand new meetup that she created in the Tampa area, Reseller Meetup monthly, which I don't know why monthly, because for some reason monthly seems to be like every other week you're having a meetup. Maybe it's just me and months are going by quickly. But yeah, Cheryl's a busy little bee.
Tommy is in Portland.
Okay,
we're past 3:00 here, you guys. We did a pretty good job of keeping it to an hour. Are you ready to wrap it up so we can go play some bingo?
Yeah, I did want to just say, those of you that have not gotten your ticket for the Boss Reseller Remix yet, I hope you're going to get a ticket soon. We have time, don't get me wrong, but tickets are selling swiftly. I did want to let you know and remind you that the ticket prices are going to increase on August 1st. So you have the entire month of July at last year's pricing, early bird pricing. So keep that in mind. It's not going up drastically, but it's going up a little bit. If you want to get that cheaper price, you want to get your ticket purchased before then. And remember that you don't have to book your airfare yet. You don't have to book your hotel yet.
You can hook your hotel. You can book your hotel without paying for it. So that actually is something that you should start thinking about doing before.
That's true. And if you are someone that's going to be looking for a roommate, like some people do, you need to have your ticket purchased to be in the private group. But that's the place where you're going to get to meet people in advance and ask if someone needs a roommate and that kind of thing. And people get to know each other a little bit before if they don't already. So,
all right, let's wrap it up. We're running over. Thanks, guys.
She's like a taskmaster now
because we're trying to keep it to an hour so we don't go too long. And also we got friends to see, man. All right, guys, we will see you later. Good luck on achieving all your goals this week. Let's do this together, and we will see you next week.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.